Hello. Today we will be learning about free will, whether it exists or not, functionally, usably, and provably. So, let's start off with something completely unrelated, time, and well, something that is completely abstract and instant. So let's imagine time was filled with instances. Time is a straight line and filled with these instances. Now let's imagine each of these instances had a timer, a counter. Every time they existed, they went up by one. But only relative to all of time itself. Free will would exist if one of these times were to count wrong. Do you know why? Because of the next following couple explanations. The reason why it would exist if it were to count wrong would be because that's relative to all time. If it were to count wrong, then the timers would basically just reset. But only at that one instant going forward. But if we treat time as all of it at the same time, then there would be no such thing as something such as a wrong count. It would only exist in the previous existence, relative to all time. Now this would only be able to happen if there was some fundamental thing to the universe that had no definitive thing to define it, such as the electron. The electron, its position is not definitive to 100%, no matter how specific you measure, how many you measure, it is not. The only thing that is definitive about it is its area of effect. So like a point right there would be like 100%. But like the point right here would be something like 1%. So the area effect is the only thing that exists with definity, but the position itself does not exist with definity. So, if it's just a probability it exists, then every single time an electron has interacted with something or was in a position, these counters, according to all the time, would count wrong. Because these counters would split off the instant they counted wrong into two. Two timelines. Two timelines. However, every time they counted wrong, same thing would happen. They would count split off. Into alternate timelines where one had happened and one did not happen. And if that is happening every instant, and well, perspective is reality. When it is definitive, it is reality. Because if we measure the electron, it always is in a different position than we calculate it should, due to the double slit experiment. If we measure it, it does it wrong. If we don't measure it, it does it right. What we think it should in math. However, there was also an experiment where they measured the double slit experiment, but they didn't look at the measurement ever. They threw away the measurement. So, we can surmise that merely knowing the perception defines reality. So, if perception is reality, but merely knowing it is reality, then that means, for instances, since the electron has existed, or since probability without affinity has existed, there has been the highest number of timelines. So basically, the first instance to ever exist created enough timelines to where every single existence could possibly exist. However, there is more existences than that. The first timeline, or at least the smallest one I can think of so far, would be this. So you have the first instance. However, you have a meta-narrative of when that instance popped into existence. So you have another. Let's call this one 2 because this is the amount of times we've been meta. And then you have another one because that's how many times another existence has popped in. And then another. And then another. And then another. Etc., etc., etc. So the first instance, which is instances popping into existence, was literally a count to the highest number one by one. If you could define this as a race to the highest number, you would say the slowest racer wins. The turtle wins. Thank you. That is our lesson for today.